Tabanangana, Yaria, Tabanangana, Tabanangana, Yaria, Tabanangana, Kika Tabanana, Kika Tabanana, Bata, Kika Tabanana, Wasa, Kika Kashari, would I come back in 10,000? Rabia to the Ria, we browsing, and you can Libya, you driving, and she came with a dash from Sama Bin Laden. What a funny way there, Malaika, when I get a penis is on the line, Chikwale, Maren Chiganama, Rabidani, Asketa Bidani, the Jan, Sayerni, second day, who do not turn credit the quarry, Maka the Gidijam, Charlie, Sukin, one Payam, without a baby, Chile, Baranzu, with a wood for part two, I'll see tattoo, you with a mother Zumbu, Ababu number two. Tabanangana, Yaria, Tabanangana, Tabanangana, Yaria, Tabanangana, Kika Tabanana, Kika Tabanana, Kika Tabanana, Kika Kashari, she give it to me outside. Baby, follow me, if I give it to you, you go back on this. Every go na 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 na, you know say monkey on na na na. Don't do me shakara.
Hello, Tabanangana, area, Tabanangana. How is everybody doing? How are we? So if you don't know what is going on, you know, it is the fact that I'm going to be live coding something, a COVID-19 website thingy. We have how many people watching? We have a lot of people on Twitter watching and Facebook. So I'm going to be live coding this. You can watch, you can comment, you can recommend. This is from scratch. So basically, let me give you the backstory of what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be live coding a web page for COVID-19. So me and my friend, we kind of like Google. If you Google like COVID-19 Nigerian data, like you just Google it, it's very difficult, you know, to find data. Like you kind of see the confirmed cases in Nigeria, the recovered cases, and the deaths, but it doesn't really go down into like breaking down into states, breaking down into, you know, new cases, old cases. And also there's another thing is that there is no visual data. You can see my little shirt here. There's no visual data, which means that when people, like I notice on Twitter, everybody seems to wait for the NCDC to tweet that picture that they tweet every day. I think I can show what that tweet looks like. NCDC. Right. I think that's the handle that tweets it. I mean, everybody wait. Well, let me see if I can share my screen. Share a particular tab. Application tab, NCDC webpage. So this is the tab I'm going to share. So I think everyone can see this tab here, right? I don't know, should we do it this way? No, let's do it this way. It's much better, right? So everybody can see this particular tab here. This is sort of like what the NCDC like Twitter webpage looks like, and they do have like some infographics that you can see. They kind of show data like this, you know, which is very, very lovely. This is really, really, really amazing stuff. But that's the thing, is everyone is hoping that the NCDC will only update around, I think, once or twice a day. This is what everybody waits for, right? And this one is the one that goes viral. This is literally what everybody tweets. So me and my friend saw this and we were like, yo, Nigeria is a country with 200 million people. Surely we can create a website where people can see data like this, and they can also potentially export that data. They can share that data, and the data is live. So what did we do? The authority for the data is the NCDC website. So my friend Tahir is not here. I tried to call him, see if he wanted to join, but he couldn't. He didn't pick up. He's a family man anyway. So what did he do? He went ahead and he created a crawler. Now this particular crawler crawls the NCDC website every day, every hour, for new data, and it updates our database. Now, this is very smart of us because that crawler crawls the data, basically goes to the NCDC website, copies the data, puts it in our database hourly so that we don't overly, stress the engine. Then the app itself is connected to my own database. That way, when people are visiting, the visits are counted by the database. So to make this a thing, I wanted to live code this. So hopefully you can actually learn how to build a similar website, right? And to showcase this, I'm going to be using a theme that I own, which is the Apex theme. So let me send you the link to the Apex theme. This is the link to the Apex theme. That's the theme that we are going to be using. Why are we using a theme? Is because the theme already has some nice to haves, right, that we can use. So instead of us potentially like having to build everything from scratch, this theme already has it. So I'm just going to send a tweet out, theme being used, right? Actually, I can send it as a chat. I've just posted it in the chat. You should be able to view this if you are from, like, I don't think, well, Twitter is not allowing it, I guess. So it's called the Apex theme. I'm just going to go and tweet it out. So I've just tweeted it, and also you are allowed to tune in to dial in. So for example, if you want to be a part of this, you want to join me while I live code this, you can actually send me a DM or tweet me. I have my Twitter set up so I can see that. I can see or send a comment right here, and I'll be able to add you to this particular phone call, and you'll be able to see and join and make suggestions. But you can also comment, and I'll be able to watch see your comments and put them up on the screen. So are we ready to begin? In order for us to begin, I'm going to open up let me just open this up. I'm going to open up the URL here. 1 second. I'm going to open up WebStorm, which is what I am using. So it's called Project Lafia. So I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to take it to my big screen here so I can see this, right? And everyone is still seeing this. So I'm going to now start sharing my screen. So let me change the screen share here. Now you can see my beautiful face. I can see Lamilo. Lamilo, how are you? So it looks like in order for me to share this particular, what would be a good idea is to probably close my WhatsApp before somebody sends me a very interesting, what's it called, notification. So let me try and share the screen. I can only share Chrome. Why am I not able to just share the application that I want? Okay, yes, I can see that. One second. Let me try and minimize this, right? And let me try it. So I'm just trying to share the coding screen. Give me 1 minute. Let me just try and minimize this. So let's see if we can share that particular application. And this is what that looks like. Let me see if I make it full screen now and I move it around. I hope it doesn't really mess around with it. So let me see. Right, okay, everybody can see that. That's absolutely good. Can everybody see this? This is the code. Yes, I believe we can see that. So I'm going to try and make this a little bit larger. So let me make this larger so that a lot of people can actually see it on the screen. Right, let's make it larger, maybe too large. Let's make it this large. Can anybody that is watching, I know we have around 17 people viewing live. Most of them are on Twitter. Can you confirm that you can see? Can you confirm that you can see? So someone says it's not clear enough. Is it clearer now? Okay, so it seems like it's clearer now. Just again, okay. So people can see and it's readable, right? Exactly. So we're going to be using Angular to develop this particular application, right? zoom to 24 lines. Oh, okay, that's a smart way. So zoom to 24 lines. So apparently zooming to 24 lines. So let's see, is that's around, okay, maybe this is too much. That's around this, the sweet spot is apparently is 24 lines. That's around this, right? So can everybody see this? It seems like we can see now. 24 lines looks like the sweet spot. Much better, everybody. Much better. Perfect. Exactly. Okay, cool. So we're going to be using Angular. I should probably, maybe what I should actually do is instead, hold on, let me see. Here's what I'm going to do. What I should actually do is I should have, let me change the screen share and share my screen instead. So I'm just going to turn off the screen share for a moment and just make sure that I move everything that I don't want you to see to another place, right? And then I'll come here and I will show you exactly everything I want. Then I'll open Twitter here, and that way I can shuffle in between. So remember, feel free to dial in, you can come in, feel free to dial in, feel free. So, all right, so I'm going to start sharing the screen again. I will share my screen too. So right now you can see the web page. This is the theme. Let me make it a little bit larger, right? This is the theme that we're going to be using. This is called the Apex theme. Now, this is a ready-made theme that I own. I bought this. It's really nice. It allows you to use, like, you can change to dark mode, light mode. You can have like dashboard, and you can use a lot of things. So they even have charts, but they're using ng2 charts, which is charts.js, this particular one. And this is the one that we're going to be using a lot of. So let's actually start this. Let me go to the code itself and fire up our terminal. So when you're working with Angular, when you create an Angular application, to start your application, you can say ng serve, and then this will go on and serve your application on localhost 4200. Now, that's how you'll be able to access your application. So here you can see what a typical Angular application looks like, right? It's source. I cannot make this side larger. Unfortunately, that's just how WebStorm works. This is why Visual Studio Code is actually pretty much better, I think. Might be better for, so we can see that we have localhost 4200. So let's open up localhost 4200 and let's have a look at the application on localhost 4200. So it seems to be loading and loading. Is there an error? Okay, why is it taking very long to load this particular application? Let's see. That is interesting. I don't know why this is happening. I have absolutely no idea why this is happening. So it should show us the application. For whatever reason, it has not. So let us see why that is happening. It just is stuck on the loading screen. So let's see if we have any errors, first of all. Do we have any errors in our console? So we don't have any errors. So why are we not having... Oh, I think I might know what is going on here. So let me go here. And because localhost 4200 is something I use, application, let me clear this particular cache. Clear site data, yes, because I use localhost 4200 for other applications, so there might be a conflict between the servers of different applications. Let's see, make sure we don't have any. So Chrome looks like it is frozen. This is interesting. I think we've successfully broken Chrome. So someone is asking if I'm using OBS. I'm not using OBS. I'm using something called StreamYard. StreamYard makes it so much easier. Versus what, OBS is kind of like the granddaddy of everything. StreamYard just makes it easier. It's a web-based application as well. So ladies and gentlemen, for whatever reason, this thing just wouldn't work. The application just wouldn't show up. I don't know why that's happening. So let's see. We don't have any errors, which is very interesting. Oh, hold on. Let's see. Let me go to the application here. and look at the app module again. Let's try and keep this to 24 lines a screen, right? So let's look at the app module here. By default, it should take you to the home page, and then the home page should take you to, let's see, the full routes, and that should take you to the home module, and the home routing module. That should take you to the home component, and the home component, let's see if it has any errors. I cannot see any errors that I know of. So I don't know why. This is really, really interesting. We might have to start all over from scratch in terms of the application itself. I have absolutely no clue what is going on. And anybody that works with Angular, feel free to let me know what you think might be going on here. We have no errors. Let's try the brute force way. Let's try reserving the application itself. So let's end this serve. Let's do clear. Let's go here. ng serve. I have no idea why this might be not be working. Maybe the serve did not serve properly. So let's see. So just I'll take this time to answer some questions. Feel free to join. You can join. Remember, just send me a tweet. I'm monitoring Twitter, so I'm looking at the comments here. You can tweet. You can send me a DM, and I should be able to, what's it called? What's it called? Do that. So I guess. Okay, let's see. Localhost 4200. I don't understand what is going on. Interesting. It is the one day that you want to demo something that nothing will work. So this is very interesting. This is going to call our problem solving skills into question. Let us see how we can actually solve problems. So how do we do this? What do we do for this particular thing? So the way I will do this is I'll probably just start all over again from the no, it's not. So it's not displaying for you. It's not displaying for me as well. It's literally not loading anything. I don't know why. So I'm just going to like start from blank slate. So which is I'm going to go on to my Finder here, and I have these downloads. And in my downloads, I'm going to go to the Apex theme itself, right? And I have Apex Angular here. And this is the Apex Angular theme. So I'm actually just going to move this to the bin. I'm going to open this up newly, and I'm going to take this and here, put it on my desktop. So on my desktop, it's called Apex Angular. I'm going to name it Project Koro, right? And I'm going to open that up in my web store. And this is a web storm at work now. I've opened it up. This is the new application. And so let us close the other one. 1 second. Hey, Sanu. Nice to meet you. Don't worry. I'll be in touch soon. Yeah, so if you don't know what I'm talking about, a good friend of mine, Sanu, just popped in to say hi. And then she goes on to correct it to say. Classic Sanu, you know. But hey, it's been a while. I'd reach out pretty soon. All right, so let's close this one that we don't know why it isn't working, and then we can go into this one. So for this one, we're going to first do npm install. So I'm going to do an npm install, and this is basically going to go ahead and install all the dependencies for this theme. So we're going to use the actual theme itself, and then we restart the theme so we can start from scratch. So hopefully that's kind of like what we're going to be able to do here. I don't know why that thing didn't work, by the way. So let's just give it a minute or two. While we're waiting for this to pop on, please feel free to share this anywhere. It's live on YouTube, it's live on Twitter, and it's live on Facebook. I can see that there are 2 people watching on YouTube. There's 2 people from Facebook, and the rest are watching on Twitter. So please feel free to share, and you feel free to send a chat. It doesn't matter what platform you're chatting. I can actually see your chat, and I can put it on the screen. Feel free to ask questions about anything related to this or related to anything. Feel free to also, if you want to join in, you can join in. Just send me a tweet. I'm monitoring Twitter, and I will be able to let you know things like that. So okay, All right. So I'm just waiting for it. So if you look at the console here, what is happening is you can see, if you can read this, it says compiling from 2015 as ESN 2015. What happens with the new version of Angular, Angular 9, there's a new compiler called the Ivy renderer, right? What it does is it goes into your node modules and it compiles them to be Ivy ready for you. It's witchcraft, man. You'd have to ask Kara Erickson from the Google Angular team of how she did this. She is an absolutely amazing engineer. I've met a lot of smart people. She's one of the smartest people and the best life code I've ever met for sure, and the fastest typer. Yeah. So you can see that. So the npm install has finished. So now we can go to the terminal and we can say ng serve, and then we can serve that to see if this would possibly work. So let's see. Let's do the ng serve. Let's see, can we? There's just some kids screaming. Any questions so far? Any questions? So let's just wait for the compiler to run. This is the very first time you can probably hear my machine squealing. Yeah, my machine is really. I have 16 gig of RAM, and my machine is like, it's like dragging itself. So let's see. But then that's normal when you do npm install. Good thing is I have an amazing internet connection, so all of this we shouldn't have a problem in terms of viewing and all of that. So let's see. And we're going to have to get rid of a lot of things from this particular application, because this is the application with everything that is available in the demo. So we're going to have to get rid of a lot of things, like loads of things. So hopefully we don't have to do a lot of that. Okay, so we're waiting here. The compiler is finally compiling. It is about to serve. This application is 50%, 313 out of 341. So it's 50% of the way. And let's see what we can do. While we're waiting for that, please feel free to ask any questions. I'm going to also look at my social media while I'm doing this. Feel free to ask any questions, anything you might want to ask. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, so we can use this to do whatever we want to do. Feel free to ask any questions, please. Yep. Okay, super. So finally, we have liftoff. It is successfully compiled. So let's open this up and see. Let's move this, and let's actually rearrange these screens here. So let's rearrange this screen so you can see that. So we're going to go in here, and I'm just going to post this here. And here you can see the theme is working. We have our local host here working, right? I can make this a little bit larger, maybe 125%. You can see that we have the theme working. So we have liftoff. I don't know what the hell happened with the previous one. So we're just going to go and do this. The first thing we're going to go and do is just literally, I'm going to go into the theme itself. And I'm going to open up the theme. So if you open up the theme, you go to the source file like a typical Angular application. I'm going to go to the routing, because right now we have a routing to pretty much everything, all right? And we don't actually need to route to everything. Let's use our best practice, which is 24 lines. So you can see we have different types of routing. So I'm actually, right now when you route, it takes you to a place called dashboard/dashboard, right? The first thing we want to do is we want to create our home page. So how do we create our own homepage with Angular? We can go into the terminal here. We open another terminal window, and Angular has a, what's it called? I don't know if we can make this a little bit larger. We cannot. Let's see, can we make this larger? No, we can't. So the command to create our homepage is ng generate, right? Generate, or G for short form. And then what you want to generate in Angular. So I don't like to create my components out of the fly. I like to create my module. So I'm going to create a module. My friend is actually calling, and let me see if he's going to join us. So I'm going to put myself on mute. So sorry guys, that was my co-partner, the person that created the API, calling in to see if he could, like, when he could come and join. I was like, yeah, he could come. So anyways, back to the whole thing. We're gonna generate the module, ng generate m for the module, and then I'm gonna call. I don't like to generate my components that on the fly. When I'm working with Angular, I generate a module for almost every single component. So I'm gonna call this module home, and I'm gonna say add that home module. You can see that it's created that whole module for us. So I'm now gonna go create so you can see here, if we look here, we would have home. You can see home. This is the whole module. It's been generated for us, right? So now, one thing with Angular is you can also generate a component to be added automatically to this particular module. So I'm going to say ng generate component, then I'm going to say home/home, which would basically take you to enter this file path here. And now you can see that it's generated the home component, and the home component is now has been declared automatically inside of this whole module, right? So let's just make this a little bit less, let's reduce the screen real estate here. And you can see that. So the next thing we're going to go ahead and do is that home page is going to be the home page. That's where we're going to show like the number of cases, list out all the states and everything like that. So I'm going to now go to the app routing module, which is the routing module for everything. I'm going to remove all the things we don't need. And I'm going to say basically, whenever you land on this web page, actually, you should be redirected to the home module. So before, what should happen is whenever you go to the empty file path, what should happen here is you should go to this particular, should be redirected to home, like this. Let's make this a little bit larger, right? Hold on. Yeah. So you should be redirected to the home path. That's how you do when you work with Angular. I'm going to actually add another package. Let me just do an npm install. npm install Prettier. Now I'm going to npm install Prettier --save-dev. What this is going to do is going to install something called Prettier. Prettier is something you use to prettify your code, because right now you can see that the code is all over the place. But when we use Prettier and you do Shift Command P, it automatically prettifies your code. So we've added Prettier. Now if I do Shift Command P or Command Option P, I guess. Let's see, Shift Command P. It doesn't seem to be working. Well, we'll revisit that, I guess. Anyways, so we're going to go here, home, and then we're going to create a path for that particular home page. So what we'll do is we create that path under the content layout here, which is the content layout for the full routes. This particular path here is where we want to go and add our path. So honestly, we can actually just, like delete everything that we have here, because we don't really need all these paths. All we just need is here, we can just go and say we want a path. We want to call, let's make it a little bit larger. We want a path, call this path home, right? And then we want to say load children, and load children takes in a function. And we basically say, so if you look at, before I look at that, so this is how you do lazy load in Angular load children. You take a function, and the function then takes the import, and which returns a, what's it called? So let's do that, and we say import. Then now we want to navigate to that particular, so we need to go backwards. Can we get to home from here? So we need to go backwards. We need to go to home, and then from home we go to home.modules, and then this is the promise. We say module. This is what gets returned, and then we say module dot home module. So this is Prettier working, and the command for Prettier is Shift Option Command P, and then Prettier will automatically rearrange everything for you. So let's actually see this working. Shift Option Command P. So now we've navigated to the home page, but we need to go and handle that. So we're going to go to the home module, and I'm just going to import. I'm going to say routes of type route, which gets imported for us on line 4 from Angular router, equals, it's an array of paths, and this is the landing path. So if you've never really worked with Angular, this might look a little bit like rocket science, but it's not rocket science. Here we're just saying when you land here, you should go to this particular component, which is the home component, right? And then we just do Command Shift P, and then we need to import the router module and say router module dot for child, and then we pass in those routes. Okay, all right. So now we can successfully see that when we go back to our application and we say we refresh this, it's going to take us to, well, it's going to take us to this if we actually go to this application, it's going to take us to a home page, which is home works. So now we can see that this particular thing works. So the first thing is this is a demo application. We can get rid of this thing. I really don't like this thing here. So I'm going to go to the share tab here, and I'm going to go to I guess we could go to the layouts, and we can go to the full layouts. That's where everything is. You can see the app customizer. So we can actually comment out the app customizer here. If you can see, I've just commented out the app customizer. That's this thing here. So now you can see that when we refresh, that app customizer doesn't disturb us. It doesn't come up and show. So we're pretty much, we have a good deal. So the next thing we want to go and do is to really play around with a particular like a sample of this is a donut chart. This is a donut chart, and this is how a donut chart works. So we can actually just go to the donut chart page, which is the chart.js page here. We can say pages. We can go to charts here and the chart.js, and you can see that we have a scatter here, we have a bar chart, we have a donut chart. So we can actually take this donut chart here, right? And we can copy that piece of code and we can take it to our home component here, right? So we can take it to our home component. The home component has a HTML file that we can open up. So we can open up that HTML file and we can paste it in there. So now we've basically pasted that particular piece of code so that we don't have to redo it. But you can see it has some other things that have not been added because right now we are in a module. First of all, we need to add the actual module itself. So let's go to the chart.js here, and let's copy a little bit of that data. So this is for the donut. So we're just going to copy everything here with the donut, right? And we're going to paste that into the home component.ts. And thanks to WebStorm, all the imports will work. And then we're going to go to that home component.ts. We are going to import these modules. So Command Shift P. And then we have like two functions that we need, chart hovered and chart clicked. So let's go to chart.js, chart hover and chart clicked. We're just going to copy these two methods here. And we're going to go here, chart hover and chart clicked. Chart.js, and then we're now going to go and preview our application. So if we go and preview our application here, and we refresh this particular application, we should be able to see that particular chart. So here you can see that chart. This is the chart that we're expecting to see. I think this is probably what we're going to be using to showcase the Nigerian data channel, like a bunch of different parts of like data. So we're going to show like the total cases and all of that. So let's say we're just going to name this particular piece of this chart. It's a card that's being used somewhere. We don't need this anymore. So instead of donut chart, we're going to name this particular card case total case breakdown, and basically this is what we want to see. You can see that there will be a total case breakdown, right? And we'll have the total case breakdown here, and then we'll have the stuff. So another thing I think we can use, let's go back to the theme, is the theme has these things called cards. And if you go to the cards here, you can see the basic cards. You can use these basic cards basically to render out information. And I think what we can do is we can have a card for the total amount of cases, and one for recovered cases, one for deaths, and one for active cases, people that are still basically with the coronavirus. So we can just literally go to the cards page itself, make this easy. Go to the basic cards, we go to the cards page, and then we can copy this particular thing here. We copy first of all the first section here. Where does this section end? Okay, so we can copy this particular section here, and then we can go into the home page here, and we can reduce this, and we can say this is just a section. And if we open this up, we have a row here, we have a different row. So I'm going to actually import this particular thing called the matching height. I'm going to import that particular directive, and we have 2 rows of things, so we can remove the first row. And then let's rename this to, so let's preview this first of all. If we now go back to our application, this is what our application currently looks like. This is kind of like we have a case here, and another case, another case, another case. But what we would want is we want to name this to like Nigerian breakdown figures or something like that. So we can just call this Nigerian breakdown figures. I'm using an R here, and we don't need this particular thing here, so we can just remove that here. And let me just use Prettier to make this a little bit nicer so that everyone can actually see. So as you can see, Prettier has made it nice. So let's go back and preview this. If you look at that now, it says Nigerian breakdown figures, right? So I guess we'll start with the total cases. So we can say the first one here should be, let's say, total cases. And then let's just use a number like 1516/7, right? 1567. So the total cases, we should probably just maybe use, instead of danger, primary. If you don't know about primary and secondary colors in the Bootstrap theme, please go up and look that up. So primary, so danger is red. I know that for sure. So we don't need a red for the total cases. For the icon, we can just use an icon users. You know, I know that particular icon. So if I save now and we see the refresh, so this is what it looks like here. You can see this here. This is what that particular, what we've just done looks like. It's 1,567 cases, and you can see like a very friendly icon. Then the next one should be maybe the recovered cases. So let's go, because that's already green. Green should be recovered because green is positive. So let's say recovered cases. And then if we go back here, let's say, so you can see these are the recovered cases. You can say icon user. Let's use user following, right? I think following user icon has a plus, so this is a good thing. It shows like positivity, so that's another good thing. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask, by the way. And then the next one we should probably do is maybe talk about the deaths as well. So we can say here deaths, and we can change this to danger, and danger because death is danger. And then we can say maybe 20 people have died, And then we can use another icon like icon user on following. Let's try that one. Let's see what that does. So this should change to red. So you can see change has changed to red. So you can see here, this is not the most friendly icon. Of course, we can improve this, but this is just what we have now. And then the last one should be the what's it called? Active cases. Let's do the active cases, right? This would be like the number of people that are still pretty much active. And then yeah, we can leave. Let's leave the active cases as a warning so that it's yellow, right? And that way, warning, it's yellow. So that means it's not quite red, but it's, so we can leave the active cases. And here you can use icon users as well. So you can use that. Danger! Danger! Get on the floor. So you can see we can actually make this full screen. This is one thing I love about this theme. The theme allows you to do a full screen mode. So you can see that we can actually make this full screen mode. So let's probably leave it in full screen mode. So you can see that we've been able to this. So someone says cool. We have a comment from what's it called? You can use query. So black man from you can use query. I don't know what you mean by I can use query. So if you could please clarify what you mean by I can use query, I would be more than happy to attend to that particular thing. So the next thing we're going to go and do is we're going to now actually, we've sort of like seen a breakdown of what we want. So let's go ahead and actually fetch this particular data. So he said you can use query for JavaScript. I still don't understand what you mean by query for JavaScript. I don't know. Are you talking about jQuery? He's asking me to Google it. You do understand I'm a JavaScript engineer, right? I teach this for a living, right? Like, are you talking about jQuery? Or because your comment says query. So I want to know. So someone is saying what's they've just joined. We're building, just like the title. If you read the title, you see what's going on here. So anyways, so now the next thing we're going to go ahead and do is to like open up this particular thing, and I guess we can clean up this side here. Let's clean up this side. Let's clean up this side. So we can go and clean up this side. These things here, we don't really need them anymore. So what we're going to go and do is we will go in here and we will go to the nav bar, and the nav bar has a or is it the sidebar? I guess sidebar has a route configuration, and you can see all the routes here. So we're actually just going to go clean this up, right? We're just going to go clean this up real good. And what we'll do is we'll literally just delete everything. Okay. Hold on. Actually, to make this easier, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to delete this and just make an empty array with 1. So this path will be /home, and then we can name this home, and we can use the home icon. And does it have a sub menu? We can comment out the sub menu now for now. We cannot comment out in there, right? We have to sort of like delete. So let's delete this particular property here. Oh, why? What just happened? Oh, this is what we should be deleting. Huh? Why is it complaining? Submenu is missing. I guess you must have a submenu property. You can just remove this, I guess. Okay, good. So we can then, if we now go back to our application, you can see now we just have home with this badge too. We don't need the badge right now, so we can just remove the badge. We don't need the badge. I guess so. You can kind of like see that now it says home. We've cleaned up this particular area, right? So this is pretty good. The next thing we can go ahead and do now is to really dive in here head first and start to get the data. And for that, I actually have a database here that we have created. A database that we have created. So I'm just going to go and log into that particular database, and then I'll come in here and I'll show you, because I have to be very mindful, right, of what I'm showing. So I'm going to go to MongoDB Stitch, which is the platform we're using. So let me actually talk about the platform that we're going to be using for the MongoDB itself. So this is the platform we're using, Atlas MongoDB. So this is what we're using. So just wanted to know where you got the template. I see Apex. Is that the website? Yeah. I'm using the Apex template. I own it. Yes, that's a good question. It's the Apex template. I've sent a link out. You can see it, or you can just Google Apex Angular theme. It's on Theme Forest. At the end, I'll probably send a link. But anyways, for now, let's go to the Atlas. So this is what I'm using. I'm using MongoDB Atlas. It's a very, very lovely platform. It allows you to create like serverless applications, and they have something called Stitch. So I already have like a Stitch website that I'm creating. Stitch website that I have. So I'm going to say go to Sani projects, and I'm going to open up a Stitch application called Corona Nigeria, right? And so I can open this up and I can show this up here. So if I put this up here, we should be able to see this. I can actually show you this. So here you can see, let me just make this a little bit larger. So you can see what this is the Stitch application. You can see that we have a Corona Nigeria application, Corona Nigeria stuff here. And we can actually go and connect to this Corona Nigeria application with the SD. We would need to use the SDK. So we will need to use the JavaScript SDK. If we go to get started, it's actually pretty easy. I don't know if I should show my, I think I've kind of just messed up here, because I've kind of gone ahead and shown my application ID, right? Well, Stitch has gone and showed our application ID, which is not a big deal like that, because I'm actually going to be like, what's it called? This application is going to be, we're going to be using a separate one when we're going live. So, well, you can only log in basically via you're only going to be able to log in via an API that I create. So for now, for the sake of that, so it's okay if you have the application ID. And this is how to use it. So we're going to just copy this. This is the latest version of Mongo browser SDK. So we're just going to copy that npm install command. And we're going to go in here and we're going to install the Stitch SDK. And we're just going to install that. And from there, we should be able to just go ahead and use it. So I actually have this in the Corona, the other one I created, which is the project Lafia. So I'm just going to open that up in a new window, the one that we were using just before we started, the project Lafia, because I've actually gone ahead and done a few things there. So if I go to the app module there, the first thing I will do is to copy this piece of code here, which is this guy here. Oh, I'm going to copy this here, services here, copy the services, and I'm going to post that here. And I'm going to paste that in the app module, paste services. I'm going to refactor that. And then I'm going to copy this guy here, and I'll explain exactly what they do. So someone's just asking what IDE am I using? I'm using WebStorm. I love WebStorm. I really, really do like WebStorm. So yeah, that's the IDE I'm using. I'm going to sort of like copy this part here and go to my app.module here. Let me make this a little bit larger so that you can see. I'm going to go to my app module here, and I'm going to paste this somewhere, maybe here. And I'll explain what I'm doing now. I'm going to automatically import what we've just imported, the MongoDB Stitch service, because it exists now. And The next thing I'm going to go and do is to also copy this piece of code that I already wrote, which is the application initializer. And I'll take that to the providers here, and I'll just put that here. Now let me explain what this is. Okay, let me also import this particular thing. So I think for now we're done with the project Lafia. So let me just explain what we've done here. The first thing we did is we copied we actually have one more thing that we need to do, which is to open up Project Lafia. So someone is saying VS Code team forever. VS Code is very lovely. It's nice. I don't particularly use it that much because so I'm just going to copy this environmental variable here. So we're just going to copy this. Or let's just open this here, open this here, and we are going to go here to the environments variable here and paste that in here. So I'll explain what we just did basically. So let me explain. So what you see here is basically, this is the application ID for Stitch. Now I'm showing this in public because I'm actually, when we start this application, I'm going to use something called the anonymous login, right? That's what we're going to integrate it. But at the time I'm going live, I'm not going to use the anonymous login. I am actually going to use the Stitch API key login so that not everybody can access this database. Right now, the anonymous login is allowed. So I'll explain. What I've done is I've just created a service here. I don't know why this is saying it cannot find MongoDB browser SDK, which is interesting because we have literally just installed the Stitch browser SDK. Maybe it's just we need to close the file. We have Corona data. Okay, this is an interface I created from the old application. So I'm just going to open Project Lafia one more time to copy in what we have. New window, and we have a specific thing here that I'm very interested in, which is the home component. And we're going to in there. We're going to copy all these interfaces here. I'm going to copy those interfaces, and I think this is the final thing. Then I'm going to create a folder here called types, and I'm going to create a file inside that types folder called TypeScript file, Corona data, and I'm just going to paste this in here, and I'm just going to say basically do this, copy that in, and then we can see why. Let's see what we have here. This is saying observer of unknown to observer of Corona data. I don't know what you're complaining about, Mr. Method. So I'm just gonna close this file and open it up again. Maybe it's a syncing thing. It's complaining that we have an observable here that it doesn't seem to know about. Let's see if we apply put any. Corona data. That's interesting. Been so long. Okay. I don't know why that should be problematic, but anyways, we'll revisit that. So let's talk about what we've just done. I've just basically copied some code. This is a service I created in my previous project. It's basically, we're creating a private member here called the MongoDB Stitch client, and let's just make sure we have the MongoDB Stitch. Actually, why am I doing this? Because I can just come in here and say Mongo. Oh, okay. So it seems like we haven't actually installed the MongoDB Stitch SDK, which is interesting. Or maybe we installed it on the wrong project. So let's go to terminal here. Yeah, it seems like we installed it in the wrong project. So here we're now installing the MongoDB Stitch SDK, which is a JavaScript SDK where we use to communicate to our database. This shouldn't take too much time. It's a very small file, and this should resolve this particular error. So now this particular error after the indexing should work. you should be able to see that this error now goes away exactly because we're good to go. All right. So let me explain what we've done. I created a private member, a new service called MongoDB Stitch. Now, of course, if you're using the Angular CLI, you just be doing ng generate service, whatever the name of the service is. And I like to create my services in a services folder, right? So we have MongoDB Stitch client app here. Now the Stitch client app is a type. That's what the instance that your application has, and then you instantiate that particular client, right? You have a function that instantiates that client. What that function does is it just returns that MongoDB Stitch is now equals to whatever that application client, and we use our app ID, right? And then this is, you can see I'm doing an anonymous login. This is just basically just log whoever the person is, and then you have get content data here, right? Of course, at development time, I'm not going to be using anonymous login. I'm going to be using API key because anybody watching this has access to that API. And if anonymous login is made available, then everybody is just going to be logging in anonymously and be making API calls to my database, and I don't want that. Or I can just actually make a read only. There's a lot of ways to go around that. So what I'm doing now, if you go to my app.module, I created a method called instantiate stitch that returns basically another function that that function does is it just calls the instantiate stitch client and the anonymous login method, right? Now, you then tie to something called the app initializer. The app initializer in Angular is basically how you hook into the Angular Bootstrap method, right? If you come from AngularJS, it's like basically like your main method. This is how you hook into the initialization. So like the main method and all of that, this is kind of how you do it. And you can give it a factory, which is a function that it would run and make sure that that function results before your application is started. And if that function requires some dependencies, you can inject those dependencies ahead of time so that Angular will make those dependencies ahead of time for you available. And then you can use multi-true so that you can basically do this in multiple places and Angular will just append all of them, right? Okay, that's kind of what it is here. So the next thing we're going to just go ahead and do is we pretty much have our application ready, right? Well, we're going to just close this here. We have this ready. We're going to start making the actual call to the database itself. So I'm going to just go to the home page here. Let me close everything that I have here. I'm going to go to that home page.ts file that we have created with that dummy data. And I'm just going to say, let's call it Corona Nigeria data. And because I'm going to use an observable, Nigeria, look, I'm almost forgetting how to spell Nigeria. Because I'm using an observable, I like to put the $signs at the end of my observable streams. And if you don't know what an observable is, please feel free to ask. I'll explain that. And this is going to be observable of type Corona data, right? And I'm just going to do this here. And then within the constructor, actually, we don't need the ng on init. Well, I don't know if we need ng on init yet, but I'm just going to leave it for now. Within that constructor, I'm going to inject that particular class. So stitch Mongo stitch itch service, and I'm going to import the MongoDB stitch service, right? And within here, I'm then going to say basically this dot Corona Nigeria data equals this dot MongoDB stitch service dot get content data, and that's what's going to get returned. So let's look at that get content data. So within my database on MongoDB Stitch, let me show you this. Within my database on MongoDB Stitch, I have a database called whatever this database name is in the environmental variable, and I can show that live actually. So we can just command click, and there's a database called Corona, and there's a collection called Nigeria case snapshots, because what we actually have in our database is snapshots, and I will show you our database later on. And then what you can see is environment, the collection name, we're passing that collection name. One of the things I like about the Angular environment folder is that you can create as many environments as you want. Angular starts off with 2, which is the main environment and then the production environment. So when you're building for production, Angular would automatically swap the values in this particular file with the one in the production. which is really, really amazing. So you come in here, and I'm always looking for the one that has latest true, because the one that has latest true, based on the way we did our database, is the current latest particular like data piece of data. And then because MongoDB returns the find returns an array, you want the first one, because this is probably going to always have one, but you want the first one, else it's going to return you an array. But now it's not going to return me an array, it's going to return me a method. So this will go ahead and do that for me. So now I can go to the coronavirus here. So let's actually see this. If I did this and I said this dot corona virus data dot subscribe, let's just subscribe, let's say data, and we say console.log data, right? At some point I would have to go on a break and order my iftar food before I actually forget. So we console.log the data, and if you look at this now, what happens is this is going to console log that data for us. So let's go to the web page here and let's refresh this. So if we now go to the console here and we check the console, we click console, so we can see that we have an error here. Let's look at that particular error, what the error is. And so we have a stitch error. It says no rules for namespace. No rule exists for namespace, stitch error. Oh, I know this particular error. This is basically saying that we've created a database, but the actual like MongoDB stuff itself does not have access for the rule. So we don't have read or write access. So I'm just going to enable that read or write access. It's just something I need to do. Nigeria case snapshots. No matching rule found. Okay. So I'm having a look at I cannot share my screen, of course. So insert, delete, write. So it seems like we need one for read. We have access to read. Okay. So I don't know why this is happening. So it's not letting us read. So I'm just going to edit these rules here. Here, hello. Convert to advanced. I'm just going to say read. Save this. I'm going to review and deploy those changes. And I've now deployed those changes. So now we're going to try and see. So the change is live. Let's see if it now works. So it says no rule exists for namespace coronavirus, error code 40, which is really interesting considering the fact that we have just updated that particular thing live. So I'm going to have to empty the cache and hard reload. Let's see. Okay, go on. It still says we cannot read and write, which is interesting. So let me see, are we missing anything here? The providers, which is allow users to log in anonymously, yes. We have rules here. Nigeria case, Corona, snapshots, and yeah, so let's Google this particular error and see why this is happening to Stitch. I've actually not really come across this particular one. Well, I've fixed it the way I normally would expect. So let's see, it says no rule exists, no matching rule found. Stitch administration. So let's look at the error code and see what let's look at the error codes. Yeah, let's look deep into the error code. The namespace requested does not have any rule associated with it. Either it is not exposed through Stitch or does not exist. Check your MongoDB developer to ensure the rules are appropriate to be added. Yes, I'm pretty sure the rules are appropriately added. So I don't understand where the problem is lying. So we don't seem to have anything that should stop us from that. Advanced mode. We don't have any rules. Insert, delete, read, write, and we have, yeah, return to basic mode. I don't know why this particular thing will be angry with us. Let's just make sure we have the right environmental variables set. Nigeria case snapshots. Okay, Nigeria case snapshots. Yeah, we have everything there. Looks all good. And all right, I'm just gonna close this guy here. And we're gonna refresh this guy. Let's see. No rules exist for namespace Corona. No matching rule found. Let me see. If it's like Firebase rules, you probably have to set it in your FASS. Exactly. You're right. I have set the rules, but for whatever reason, I'm still getting an error saying this whatever hasn't occurred. I don't know why we're getting full layout, an error here from full layout saying, oh yeah, this is for the customizer. No rules exist. Interesting. Let's see why the rules exist. Stitch error. Yeah, we have seen that this is the error, no rule matching found. And it says that this error, let's make it larger. This error only occurs when the namespace requested does not have any rule associated with it. Either it is not exposed through Stitch or does not exist. It is exposed. I can see that it is exposed. So something, we must be doing something incorrect here. Something has to happen for us to let's see. Insert, delete. Okay, return to basic mode. Actually, I do not know why. Have we not deployed? We have definitely deployed. So let's have a look. I'm just troubleshooting this. I don't know why this is not working. So let me try and troubleshoot this. I'm just going to try to troubleshoot this. If not, we're going to just use a default data I have while we attempt to solve this particular problem. So I'm just going to look at my test cluster here. Create my test cluster, and I'm just going to go into COVID. Oh, hold on. Oh, of course. The database is not called Corona, it's called COVID. This is the problem here. I've just seen it. So this was called Corona, it's called COVID. And now we can see some data. So you can see some data here. So we fixed the problem here. This was the problem. We were using the wrong. So this is what the sample data looks like. And you can see that we are actually using, this is real live data from our server. So we can now close this here. We can clear this thing here. And we can go ahead and start using our sample data. So we know that this thing definitely returns us valid data. Yes, sorry about that, guys. Okay, so so what's it called? The next thing we're going to go ahead and do is start working on with this. So if I go then to the homepage of this, So the total amount of cases. Then we're going to use, the first thing we should do probably is here is say this. I'm going to say this coronavirus.pipe. I'm going to say this dot coronavirus data equals this the pipe dot share. I'm just going to make sure I am sharing this. And the reason why you want to use the share operator, and I'm just doing it in a very verbose way here. The reason why you want to use the share operator so that anybody that subscribes to this particular guy here is actually not triggering a fresh call. Now you can easily add that share here or somewhere else. You could do that. In fact, maybe we should probably just do that here. We should just put the pipe on this level so that we can get rid of this verbosity. Then Lesh will be proud of us. Yes. So now we can go ahead and we can then start binding to that particular place. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to bind to Corona Nigeria data, use the async pipe, and then I'm just going to put the question mark in here. I'm going to say cases till date. That's a total a number of cases till date, and I'm just going to cases till date. Let's actually make this verbose. Right, so total cases today. This is the recovered cases, or we could just say everybody knows the total, so we can do this, or we assume. I didn't know that share operator. I'm learning. Okay, yeah. So the share operator is very, very nice because the way. So somebody said I didn't know about the share operator. So the share operator, basically, when you add the share operator, every time you use an observable, first of all, and you call this async pipe, a new call is made because a new subscription is being made. But when you add the share operator, what happens is it doesn't trigger a new call. It just shares the same stream. There's another one called share replay as well. That's also another very, very nice one. So yeah, you can use the share operator. And this is what we will do so that it's sharing one stream. Whichever one just comes back first, we just share that particular stream from there. So this is cases till date. This is discharged. That's the recovered cases. Then deaths, we're just gonna put deaths till date, and then this is the active cases. Active cases. So this is what our website returns. So now let's go and preview this live. Look, this is so amazing, and this is a much more this is an outdated version of the database. By the time this goes live, we would have a more up-to-date version of the database because the backend is actually not running now. My friend will run it. So here you can see these numbers are real numbers. If you actually add up this, and this, you would come up to 1182. I think this was as at last week, right? So these are the number of cases till date. But this was as at last week. So this is really, really interesting. This is really interesting. So now you can see that we have this case breakdown. We've been able to create this case breakdown live here while I've been talking to you. We've been live for around, how long have we been live for? Only God knows, really. Around an hour and 15 minutes, right? And we've been able to do this. So the next thing is we want to go and wire up this so that we can wire this up to show the case breakdown as a what's it called, donut, a pie chart. So I'm guessing we'll probably specify our own colors as well. So let's go ahead and see what this data looks like. If we go to the, by the way, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. So if you look at the chart data here, this is the chart data. So let's look at the sample data. The sample data, this is what the chart data is using. This is the sample data. Let's specify this, right? Look at the thing. So it's first, if you go back here, you can see download sales, install sales, mail order sales. That's kind of the labels here. So we can change these labels here, right, to our own labels, or we can specify our own labels. We can basically copy this and we can specify our own labels, right? And then here, you can see the donut chart data. You also specify the data for every single one of them, 350, 450, and 100. That's pretty simple. And then next, you can also export the colors that represent. You can use RGBA, I guess, and I guess you can use, let me see, is it only RGBA? You can use string colors as well, I'm guessing. So this is really interesting. So I'm just going to copy these three here, right? And well, let's do them one by one. Let's start with the sales first, right? So I'm guessing we're going to do this. Well, the labels we'll change the labels to be active cases, discharged, deaths, discharged, right? So this is the first thing we're going to do. That's the we can refactor this and name this, instead of donut chart, corona oh, we can leave it as we can leave it as that. We can leave it as donut chart labels. Someone says, called Taufik, says, great job. You're doing Yusuf, inspiring. Oh, thank you very much, Taufik. Thank you very, very much. I can see we have most people watching from Twitter. So for all of this, there's been a few people. AC Soko has been here since the beginning. A lot of people as well have been here since the beginning. So really, really thank you for being here. Feel free to join in. Let me take a quick glance at Twitter and see if we have any tweets. I do see somebody. So somebody says, I see you are working on a dashboard for NCDC. I'm currently supporting the IT team. Can we talk about how to get this? Oh, I probably shouldn't be saying this out loud. But hey, it looks like our work is getting recognized by somebody from the official NCDC team. So I'll reach out to them, but in private. So Taufik goes, I'm on JS and I'll try to use HTML CSS to do something basic. Yes, Taufik, you can do this as well. Like this is not rocket science for anyone. That's why I'm doing this live, right? So so the next thing is that let's go to the chart donor data. Let's try and model this data off. So we're going to copy this particular data. The indexes need to match. So we need to make sure that this particular piece of data also matches. So for the way we're going to do this is we are going to use, we will be setting this particular, we're going to start this with, 0, 0, 0 first, because at the point that we start working, we don't have that data. Then later on, we'll go and set that data. We don't actually need the whole public keyword because public is redundant in TypeScript. It is implicitly public and explicitly needs to be private. It's and then this is the chart, the data, the chart type. It's donut, animation, false. I think let's see what animation true looks like actually. So hold on. Let me just delete these. Let me take these numbers back and let's see what animation true looks like. Let's see what animation true looks like. Let's see. Not much has changed, I guess. Well, I like animation, so I'm just going to put animations equals to true. Maintain aspect ratio. It wants us to maintain aspect ratio. So I don't know what that is. But anyways, we're just going to leave it at that. I guess background colors as well is another thing that we can sort of test out here. So we can go in here and the colors. So we can just copy that, hard code that here. I think what would be nice is we can use the background colors. So for active cases, we can use green. Let's use green. And then for the deaths, we can use red. And then for this, we can use orange. I think it's already orange, actually, this RGB color. So let's see if it reads string. So you can see, yes. Let's see if we could just read orange. And by the way, if anybody watching has some very nice shades of red that they want us to use, we can use that. So you can see, this is sort of like what we want to show, active cases, deaths, and then that way we can see like a dashboard here of how the cases match. So now the next thing is to feed this particular piece of data, the real data that we want. So I'll go in here, I'll set this to 0, 0, and 0. I'll set this to 0, 0, 0. And then I guess as soon as with the data comes, so what we can do, actually, we can be smart about this. We can come in here and we can use the tab operator here, right? We can use the tab operator. And the tab operator is basically from RxJX, and it allows you to basically tap into the stream that is coming without actually needing to change anything in that particular stream. So I'm just going to tap into that stream, and I'm just going to say Corona data, and I'll just tap into that stream. And what we'll do is that we would call this particular member, which is the donut chart member, right? And I guess what we can do is we can say const corona, then we can say something equals corona. We are going to use the spread operator. We're going to deconstruct this particular object. So we can say, if we look at the corona data interface, let's look at that corona data interface here. So if we look at the corona data interface, so we go to types here, types corona data interface, you can see what we're expecting. So we have these members here, active cases, cases till death, discharge. So the first thing we are looking for is the active cases. So we're going to go in here, and we're going to deconstruct that particular object. So we'll put active cases. Then the next one is cases till date. We'll take in here, and we'll say, no, we don't need the cases till date. And then the next one is the deaths and discharge. So deaths till date. This is another property we're interested in, and the discharge, because these three make up the summation of the actual total number of cases, right? So these are properties that will exist in this particular model here. Then we can now say this dot donut, which is this particular donut chart data, this particular object. We just need to make sure it's in the correct order, which is in active cases, deaths, and discharge. Active cases, deaths, and discharge. So it is equals to, active cases would be active cases here like this. Deaths would be deaths till date, and discharge will be discharged like that. So you can see we have used the order in the correct form. So now if we go back and we reload, we let that save, this should actually now represent that. So can you see that? We now have active cases 928, discharged. Actually, we should swap these colors. Active cases should be orange because they could die, while discharge should be green. So let's solve that now. If we save that, so here you can see, yes, this is a very, very ugly version of orange, but hey, you can see the green shows the people that have been discharged. The red shows the active cases and all of that. So let's see, do we have any errors here? We do have an error. Cannot ease in function. Ease in function is not a function. Okay, I'm just going to, I think it's because we set this to true here. Let's just set it back to false for now. And I think maybe that error would go away. All right, exactly. The error has gone away, so we don't really this particular error that we have has nothing to do with our code. So here you can see that the active cases are orange, the deaths are red, and then the discharge is green. So at a glance, you can already see the situation in Nigeria. And this is very, 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 very important. You can see the situation in Nigeria here. And so this is basically a quick breakdown as to how we can do this particular thing. So let's take a break now. Let's see if we have any comments and everybody has any questions. We can take those questions and comments. What's it called? So let's see. Does anybody have any questions that they want us to go through? I'm more than happy. Now is a good time for you to ask any questions, because we're going to go into the next stage, which is to talk about the states, right? Here we have the one thing that we will do is we'll make these things shareable when maybe in a latest live stream where we can make these dashboards shareable, so you can actually share the live stream itself. You can literally share it. And I guess what would, because at the end of today's live stream, we will make sure we push this live. It's outdated data, but as soon as my friend updates the real data, it will go live. So we will push this live, and at least we'll have a website. In fact, I've actually we're probably gonna buy a domain name live while we're doing this, and then push that data. I have some domain names like Lafia. Lafia means wealth, wellness in Hausa, and also I think in Yoruba as well. Yeah, Lafia ni. But I don't want to give room for any ethnic bigotry, so I'll probably abstract it away. I have another data. What's it called? Where is Big Chief? Maybe Big Chief, if you're watching this, you should give us one of his domain names. I will be more than happy to use it. That would really be awesome, isn't it? So that's kind of what we can do. So any questions about this? We have like around 7 people watching live now. We have 7 people, or 8, 7 on Twitter. So we can go ahead. So any questions? And by the way, feel free to follow me at Sani Yusuf, or Google me at Sani Yusuf anywhere, and feel free to follow. Right? Okay. So we have, is there a way you could scrape live data from verified news websites? Yeah, you can scrape live data from anywhere. In fact, that's what we're doing. We're scraping our data from the NCDC website. You just need to build a scraper. Preferably Python allows you to do that. I guess Go would have all the other things, but there are also a lot of online tools that allow you to scrape data. So yes, there are ways you can scrape live data from verified news websites or blogs. You can scrape data from anywhere, as long as you have access to it. Yes, you can. And by the way, for the people watching, hope this has been very helpful before we actually continue. And this is real live data, by the way, real live. In fact, you know what? Let me share a screenshot of what we are doing so far. Let me go here and share a screenshot with Twitter. So please feel free to share screenshots as well, like with what we're doing, because I'm not just teaching you, you're learning as well. So this is us doing this together. Look at how we have already built a dashboard. Real data. COVID. Okay. I've just tweeted that. We do have, let's see if there are any other questions. So we can continue now. The next thing we're probably going to do is to do states, right? To break down in states. So let's do a little bit of refactoring here. We have we have one section here. We can actually take this section here and actually put this section inside here, right? I guess the one thing we can do is let's test our mobile optimization. That's one thing I would want us to do. So let's test mobile optimization here. I'm just going to resize this screen here, so we can see that when it's in a large screen, it goes here, and then in a other large screen, and we go here. So this is not bad. This is really cool. But I think what will be amazing at the end, we can take on the smaller screen, we can make sure that this goes up here, so that these ones now go down. We can probably work on that a little bit later, but this is sort of like where we are now. Any questions? All right, so we're going to go to the states breakdown. So I'm just going to go back here to I'm going to call our, bring back our stuff. So we can rename all these things, minimal statistics, into like case country wide breakdown. And yes, use sections, please. Use your semantic web so that people will know the sections. All right, and then we're just going to duplicate this section out. States breakdown, right? And what we can do is we will then states. Breakdown figures. So the Nigerian state breakdown figures. So let's look at that. So let's actually look at this. So this is what we're gonna have. We're gonna have the states broken down here. It's kind of like what we're going to do here, so that we can have sort of like this broken down. Now this is really, really nice, because what that means is we will be able to then show all the states. I think what I want us to have is all the Nigerian states in order of, in descending order. So from the states with the most cases to the states with the least cases, in that order. And then you can sort of like click each individual card and you can go to a specific state, right? And so let's go back to our theme. This is our theme. Let's look at some of the cards that we can use. Ideally, we could probably just reuse these same cards here. It would have been nice if we could have icon for the states. I don't think we can do that. Let's look at the advanced cards that we can use. We have some really advanced cards that we can actually use. I don't think we need anything like that, because I wish if states had, like states in Nigeria had flags, right? That we would have been able to use those flags. Do you think we should use, I think we can also use the colorful ones, so that when people see, they can actually click the states themselves and sort of like show stuff. But I don't know. We can do a lot. Let's keep it simple for now. We can just keep it very, very simple and just showcase the states. So we're probably just going to use this here. So I'm going to copy this here, and I'm going to paste this particular part. And someone has a question, ask a question, what site are you using for your card? So we're using a theme called Apex theme. And I'm just going to close this here. So I'm going to leave one out, right? Let's make this larger. I'm going to leave one out. Remember, 24 lines. I'm going to leave one out here, and everybody can see that one. So we're not gonna, we're just gonna put like, I guess what would be nice is the state name. So the state name would be here. So let's say Lagos, and then you'd have the cases. Lagos cases. Oh no, let's just say Lagos. Then we can have like maybe 400, all right? And we should probably use a color that isn't really very, oh, here, oh, sorry. This is where we go. So something like this. We would just have all those cases. So let's go to further icons. And you can see that city, state, place. Let's find an icon for like states that we can reuse across all the states. We can use activity as well. We can just use activity for the icon. We can just use activity. If you feel free to suggest icons, let's see, is there anything we can do? We can see that we can use or we can use map. The map one actually works. Map does work. We can also use, let's see. Map or activity is the one that comes to my mind now. So let's try map. So let's say icon. Oh, so that let's use a different icon package. Yeah. Let's have a look at this quickly. Let's see. Map. in. Let's use the map pane. Yeah, I think this makes much more sense. It shows like it's a place. So this is what we're going to go and do. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use something in Angular called the ng-for. We want to make sure that as many states as we have, we want to be able to repeat this. So we want to go ng-for let state data of, then we call our Corona Nigeria data, and we pass it an async pipe, and then we say dot something called state list. This is the iterable that we want to repeat on. And then we say state data, we take that state data, right? And then we say state data dot case breakdown dot cases till date, right? Because we don't need to show all the data. The states, if the states like breakdown itself, the states individual, they'll have their own individual pages. So we can do states breakdown, states case data till date. And then here we can then come in here and we can put in the state name. And we can put in the state name, the name of the state. And then if we save that, now we can go in here and you can see that we have all these states, and this is live data. This is literally, of course, our data live data, but this is real live data that is being shown, right? And what would be nice is if we could have a search bar here that would then work with the search. We'll probably add that somewhere so you can see these pieces of data. So it looks like the data is actually already sorted. My friend already returns unsorted data, but we cannot be sure. We should always do defensive programming. It's nice that the state it's defensive programming. So what we're going to go and do is we're going to go back into our data here, and what we'll do is we will map. We'll call a map operator, and we want to make. Why are we calling a map operator? Because we want to make sure that the data that we have is always sorted from ascending to descending order. So we would say Corona data. We can name this anything. And then we want to basically, first of all, it's always a good idea to take a copy of an object. So I'm just going to say, what's it called? Const Corona data equals Corona data. So this is just to copy, a shallow copy. Of course, you should be using immutable JS, or actually you should be using object or assign, whatever it is. There are a lot of ways. No one is foolproof. I think the best one that is foolproof is either immutable JS or you use JSON parse. That would make sure that you're getting a new object. So then you say Corona dot Corona data as Corona data dot the state list. Oh wait, why is it not returning? Hold on. This is of type Corona data. Yeah, this is the case. Oh yeah, so it shouldn't be. We don't need the as here. We were using any there. Oh, I remember earlier on we did some stuff. So that case, this is till date. We can sort. We can use a sort. So if you want to sort in descending order, I actually need to quickly Google that. In descending order, you have to pass in a sort function method or function, which you would use. Is it plus or minus? I always keep forgetting. And yes, descending order is minus. So you pass in a sort method here. And this is your sort method. And you'd say, let's say, I just normally like to use A, B, and then you would say return. Oh, well, we don't need to return. We just say a dot case breakdown dot cases to date is greater than b dot case breakdown dot cases to date. So let me just prettify this. Basically, this is a sort function saying you want to sort the other list. And so I just need to know if the sort function returns, it mutates the original one, right? I believe that's the case. It doesn't actually return you a new array. It mutates the original. So we don't actually need to, let me see the return time. I'm just reading it here. Sorted array, note, yes. Okay, it just mutates the original one. That's interesting. So we don't need to, this particular state list array would then be, then we return here corona data, and that's fine. So this ensures that even if we mess up our like whatever, my friend doesn't return me, I'm not depending on what the server is returning. I'm actually watching for myself in the front end side. And if I go back, we can see this is actually really changed because, oh, we are doing in ascending. Oh, sorry. This should be plus, right? Yes. A plus would make it or return in descending order because you're starting from the highest to the lowest. As you saw, we use minus, it started from the lowest to the highest. So we've done a quick sort, and we're doing this ahead of time before the user even subscribes. So that data has been manipulated and we're not. So literally in the space of an hour and 42 minutes, we've actually done the homepage, right? That's literally an amazing thing. What would be nice is we can make this clickable. So let's go in here where on the card itself, we're just going to say cursor pointer so that people can actually click this. So here you can literally break this down. Oh, I don't know. I think maybe to catch people's eye, we can use one of these ones actually. Yeah, we can use one of these ones. So why don't we go ahead and do that actually? Let's try that. Let's try that. So we will instead say for the card, we will say BG primary so that it looks more obvious. Text light for this. Light text light for this. And then we change this all completely to make sure that we are doing that exactly. And then we will let's try and make it as close to this as possible. So this also the state name. So let's give it a class here and we say text light because this is from the Apex theme as well. So I don't know. It's not the greatest looking thing, but I think it's a little bit more eye-catchy than the one that we showed before. Probably not this color. Let's try background. Oh yeah, they actually the thing with this theme, it has gradients, so we can go ahead. And I'm not a user experience expert, but they have gradients. So look at some of these nice, lovely gradients. Actually, we could take advantage of one of these gradients. I particularly like we could take advantage and use one. Anybody want to recommend any one of these nice colors that we can use? Feel free to type it in the chat. We can use gradient. Let's try gradient IB versus sunset. Let's see. It's really eye-catchy, right? Again, we can change this at any time we want to. Yeah. Ooh, this is so bright. This is too bright. Maybe too bright. Let's try it. Let's try this one, blackberry. Let's try the blackberry one. So I think this is pretty dope. This is pretty dope. You know, pretty dope. We can maybe use a much better color. I like the gradient t. Let's right now we're just literally playing around because we've achieved what we want to achieve, right? Probably not. This is like very Nigeria, green, white, green. To me, white is simple, sober, and slick, not distracting. Yeah, that's the truth. I think the white one might actually just be better, isn't it? Yeah, I think in the end we might actually just stick back to the white because it's not distracting. So we might just actually go back to background primary and go back to primary, and just basically go back to this. No. No. Let's go back to this. Yeah, just keep it simple, isn't it? Just keep it simple, keep it simple, keep it simple, keep it simple, right? Keep it simple. So this is literally it, and we've kind of more or less done this. We're pretty much done with this, and there's a few things I want us to do. I want us to add analytics before we go. Then I want us to then quickly host this. So let's actually go on to GoDaddy. Why I buy this domain name live. So what do we use to host? This is very interesting. What would we use to host this live? Does anybody have any? I like Firebase hosting. Firebase hosting is good. Google domains. Firebase hosting is really live, and it's easy. It's really easy. There's a website that what I want to buy is someone says GoDaddy sucks. I really like GoDaddy. That's where I buy all my domains. So there's I'll tell you why I'm looking for this particular one. Something called Kurun. So let's see, is Kurun available? Kurun. So kurun.co.uk. Let's see. Oh, .com is already taken. Let's try Kurun. Oh, so you can see Kurun is not taken, right? Let's see if Kurun is taken. This one is taken. So Kurun. So here we are. We can actually buy Kurun, CORUUN.com, and that will show like everything. Let's see, Kurun.ng. Can we buy the .ng as well? Oh, okay. So we can't buy .ng here because of course. So we could just do Kurun.com for now. All right. We can do Kurun.com. Buy Kurun.com, and then I'll probably buy the .ng later on. And that's it. It's just $10 a year. I think I can pay that. And Firebase hosting, we can probably use Firebase hosting as well. So one thing I'll do is I should probably just, while we're sorting this out, I should just create a project for this on Firebase so that we can literally make this a thing. I'm just going to go to my console on Firebase. I'm going to create a new project called Kurun. I wonder, what about Kurun like that? No, that's taken, isn't it? So this is the one we want, Kurun. So I'm just, by the way, feel free to ask questions. I'm just setting up some stuff. So someone says, Hover is better for domain names, houseoffilms.tv. Thank you very much for that. I've never used Hover. Let's check Hover out. Hover. So apparently they're pretty nice. Yeah, same thing, all of that. So I'm just gonna really use analytics for this project and click with analytics account, personal pages, automatically create a new property for this account. Oh, that's just interesting. So when you're using Firebase hosting, hold on, I think we don't even need to set analytics itself because it's free and unlimited analytics solution enables targeting reported. Oh, because when they visit oh, that's interesting. Automatically create a new property in this account. That's interesting. That is really, really interesting. You guys cannot see what I'm seeing. So apparently when you're using Firebase hosting, they can directly configure the analytics for you. So because if they're hosting the application for you, they know who's coming in there and they can do the analytics for you, which is really interesting. So I'm just going to go ahead and buy this particular domain now here so that we can literally push the Firebase. And we're rounding up 2 hours now. So we're getting to the 2 hour mark. So this is our web page. Let me just put our web page in there. This is what we've been able to build. We're just going to change some things. What's it called? I guess what would be nice if we could have like a contact page, right? A contact page would really, really be nice before we go as well. Yeah. Okay. So Karoon, let's see, hosted. Let's do hosting. Get started. Next. Okay, hosting. So let me add a custom domain. Karoon.com. So I'm gonna buy Karoon.com. Okay, so I need to buy the domain name first. So let me buy the domain name. Guys, I love you guys so much that I'm buying a domain name live. I'm paying £10 per year. It's not easy. God is watching us. God is watching us. Okay. Okay, how do I just add to cart. I see. Okay. You won't get any, your contact info will be available to the public. Auto renew is on. Let's see. Custom email with G Suite. No, I don't need that. Checkout. So let me just buy this domain. Let me choose my card that I'm paying with. Let's choose. Wait, hope I'm not sharing. Okay, good. I'm not sharing. That's good. Where is my card? Okay, we are using which card are we using? We are using, let's use this card because we are doing something nice. And we can do this, 737. Nope, this is not my address. I have moved from that particular house. And then my postcode, and then buy, and then this should work now. Our website is being registered, Karoon.com. And we have our website being registered. So we can now connect it on Firebase. We can verify that we own this particular thing. Add the records, quick setup. Add these A records to your domain by visiting your DNS. Okay. So apparently I'm supposed to go to DNS and add these A records to your domain by visiting your DNS provider. Your site will show a security warning for a few hours. I have no idea what they're talking about. Oh, okay. I think I know what these A records. Okay. All right. Hold up. Okay. I think we need to add the other records. I think I'm getting the hang of this. I really don't know anything about networking like that. I networking was one of those ones that I passed in school, but I didn't really know much and about networking. And I think I've done the correct thing. Right? No, we need to okay, copy this. It says record already in use. Add these records. Okay, I've added these records. And then I believe these are the records that I need to add. Right? Okay. All right. I think. Okay. All right. Sorry, guys. I know you're all saying, like, waiting for us to finish this. I believe we have finished www.karoon.com. It still says needs setup, which is interesting. I don't know exactly. I'm not sure I know what I'm doing here. Not sure I know what I'm doing. Add the TXT records below to your DNS provider to verify that you own TXT records. Jesus. Add the TXT records below. Whew. I have no idea what they're talking about. Resource. Huh. Let me Google this quickly. Well, while we're figuring that out, we can leave that for later. We have other things to do. Go to GoDaddy, create a TXT record, using the information provided in Firebase. That's what it will set you up. So we're not. I've already bought the domain from Google Domains. I have no idea what to do. Olaredo, if you know how to do this on Google Domains, what we can do is you can come on live and you can help us as well. I have no absolutely clue, but while we're doing that, actually, what we can do is let's have a quick look at Twitter. What's it called? We have a quick look at Twitter, and then we can go ahead and actually prepare our application for building. So let's do two things. The two things we're going to do, we're going to complete. It's 6 o'clock. I need to be heading out in the next maybe 30 minutes. Let's try and wrap this up. What we're going to do is we'll create an about page first of all, and then when we create that about page, we can then build for production and we're ready to go. So the first thing I will do is I will create some about page and I would say ng generate module, call the module about, and then -- routing, right, for routing. And then I would say ng generate component. We need to add a component here, about / about, and add a component in that about page. And then that's it. And then we need to then go to the routes here. We go to the shared place, shared navbar. I guess I know that it's going to be in the sidebar route. And we add another entry here, right? And we call this / about us, about. I believe this is it. And then if we go here, what you see an about page with an info, exactly. I don't know why both of them, Wow, both of them highlighted. That's an interesting one. Both of them should not be highlighted. Class has sub. Oh. Hold on. Let's remove this class first. See if that solves the problem. Oh, okay. So if we remove the has subclass, that seems to solve the problem. Exactly. This is what we want. We don't want those things highlighted. About, and then now we need to go and add the actual about page route. So we go to app routing module, and in here I would just literally copy this guy here, paste this guy here, and this path is called about. And then instead of redirecting, I'm just going to load the children and go like that. What's it called? What's it called? We need to do import and no, actually about. Oh, I think we are in the same place, so we can go to about. We can go to about.module.ts, and then we then go to .then, and then we go to module. Go to module.about module. So this is how we would actually get around to doing this in Angular. We've now created the about page itself. So now if we need to go to the about module itself and go to its about routing module that we created automatically with the -- routing flag. And then we need to create the empty path here and say, all right, whenever you come here, the path I want you to go to is the empty path. And then you take the person to the component with the about component. And this about component is literally just going to say about component works. That's it. That's all it's going to do. I think actually no, I've seen that we've made a mistake, because if we go back to that app routing module, we should actually take this guy here and maybe put him within the full route. I think I have broken. Okay, this is interesting. My keyboard has stopped working. I think my keyboard's battery is dying, which is interesting. So I should plug my keyboard's battery. It's a charge. That's interesting. And let's see, can I turn it on? This is what happens when you use these keyboards. They die. These wireless keyboards, they die. They all die. So I'm going to turn it off, and then I'll turn it on again to see that it will connect. Connected. Okay, yes, we can type now. We have typing. My keyboard is charging, so we can charge the keyboard. So we can do this, and then we can maybe make this a little bit larger. In here, we can add that particular entry about our about page and make this then this should be back two steps forward. And that should be that. And we finish this here. We have everything working for us. So we've completed our about page. So now if we go to our about page, okay, no, we are waiting for it to refresh. If we go to about, it's just going to come out here. So let's go to our theme and see if we can copy anything. Is there anything we can copy? Let's see, there's an FAQ page. You know, there's a search page, there's a gallery page, there's a maintenance page. We don't really need that for now. There's an error page, there's a lock screen, there's a forgot password. So there's a forgot password page. Let's see if we can steal any of this code. There's a user profile page. No, this doesn't look like what we're looking for. Let's see. There's a dashboard too. Oh, I like this. I really like this. I like this. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I really do like this. So I'm just gonna steal this particular card here, and then I would add this as our card, me and Tahir. So I don't know if Tahir wants me to use his image. I'm probably not gonna put anything at that point in time because I haven't taken his permission. So I'm just going to dashboard 2 is the page I'm looking for here. I'm going to go to dashboard 2. Where is it? Dashboard 2. Right? And I'm going to just go to dashboard 2, component.ts. Here, hide the TS, and I'm going to search for Kevin Sullivan here. Kevin Sullivan. So this is the Kevin Sullivan card here. And I'm just going to copy that piece of code. Actually, I might as well just copy this particular row. Right. And then I'll go to that about page. I will go to the about module, the about component, and I will paste this here. Then I'll go to our home page. I'll copy our section. And I'll just paste this in here. I'll say about, and then in here, I will just basically copy this piece of code here, copy that, and I will keep this row. I will just edit this here. Let's make this a little bit larger for the viewers. We can then remove this here, and it's complaining about a module not being present, so we import the match height module. So here, it has a carousel. We don't need any of that, do we? Because if we look at what we're looking at, this, we don't really need any of the other three. And I'm just gonna come make this all extra large, 6, or call medium 6, call small 12, and in here there should be something that we don't actually have, which is the chart list. Okay, it's the X chart, so we don't actually need any of that. We can just delete that, and I can just try this with my name. I'm just gonna say Sani Yusuf. And then I'm just going to use my Twitter handle. So I'm going to open a link in a new incognito, my Twitter URL, my Twitter photo URL. Open a link in a new window. Oh no, in a new tab. Open copy image address. Then I'm just going to put that here. This is the image address to my Twitter bio. Sani Yusuf. In here, instead of, I'll just put @Sani Yusuf. And then if we go back there now, we check that out. Yeah, that looks pretty, I don't know how it looks, but not the nicest, but it's something, right? It's definitely something, or maybe a little bit too big. Yeah, that's much better. Call extra large. Tell 4. Call mid and 6. It's just us using the grid system of Bootstrap, you know. And then we save that up. We have around 20 more minutes before we call it a day. So you can see something really nice and just pretty cool. Sani Yusuf at Sani Yusuf, and then I'm probably gonna have to create another one because when we're using 4, the column what I should have is 4. I would have a offset extra large 2. To see on an extra large screen, it's actually shifted in here so that me and Tahir can have our stuff. So I'm just gonna copy this here, and I'm just gonna say this is Tahir. I don't have his permission to use his full name, so I'm just gonna put Tahir for now until I get that permission. I don't know Tahir's what's it called stuff. So I'm just gonna find an image for Tahir that I know he uses publicly. I don't know. I will have to get his permission, but I think this is just basically what we would do. And we can remove these icons here. Um, um, we can sort of just comment out these icons and comment out these icons for now. Let's see how it looks. Yeah. So we can comment out those icons and it's much better. And here's one we don't actually need to have an offset. He doesn't need an offset because I want it to be as close as possible to me as he can. So we're gonna have both of them. Tahir, I'm gonna just find an image replacement for Tahir until I have his permission. It's very important you get people's permission before you use anything about them. Okay. When I do have that permission. So I'm going to find just an image that I'm going to use for Tahir. Instead of Nigerian breakdown figures about the creators. Tahir, I'm just going to use, let me play a prank on Tahir. Let me use Mohammed Buhari. Yeah, I'm going to use Buhari's picture. That will be amazing. That's an absolute copy image address. That's an absolute, what's it called? Prank to play on Tahir until he gives me his image. And this is, by the way, this is picture Twitter image, so it's fully available online. I am not doing anything illegal. I'm just using an image of Buhari. So we're just gonna do this. This is what we're gonna do for Tahir. What's it called? And then I'm just gonna add another card as a row here. So I'm just gonna add another row here. Yep. I'm gonna have another row, and I'm just gonna say this row is just simply gonna have a column. It's gonna have a column. Yep. It's just simply gonna have a column. I'm just gonna say col 12. And we're just gonna have a card. It's gonna have a div. It's raining. A card header. H4.card title. I know these classes, they exist, so contact us. That's it, and just say card body. We don't really need this. We just put a paragraph there. Say or actually we don't really need this. We don't need this. We don't need this. We don't need this. Our Twitter is enough. Our Twitter is enough. Our Twitter is enough for now. Right? Okay. That's it. Done. That's it. Sani and Tahir about the creators homepage. You see what you have, and that's it. And then the next thing we're going to go and do is we're going to actually go and build this. But before we build this, it's very important that we go into the app module and remove the things that we don't actually need. App module here, there's a lot. There is so much that we don't need. Literally so much that we don't need, because this application is crazy large right now, crazy slow large, and we don't really need it. I don't know why we need AGM core. For now, we don't need you. We don't need you. We need a perfect Trova. The translator we don't actually need right now, but then I know that if I remove this translator, it's so widely used across the application that all hell will just break loose. So I'm just going to look at our application, make sure we're not breaking anything. Always bring up the developer console. Nothing is broken. We need to remove this event listener on here, full layout component. So we need to go to layout, full layout components, and we need to remove line 23229, right? Line 229, we don't really need all of this, literally. We don't need you. We legit do not need all of that. But that's just a customizer. And line 100 as well now. Now, wow. We don't need a customizer. We don't need all of this, and then this should take all our problems. Yes. We don't need NGRX. So our app is going to be super large, but this is something that we can. So I'm just going to do ng build, right? And before I build for production, I will probably go to the environmental variables here, copy all of this, put them in the production, because production is what's it called? It's kind of the same for now. And ng build -- prod. We're just gonna build for production. It's probably gonna be one really huge application, like seriously large application, but it is what it is. And while we are doing that, we need to sort out our hosting. So we need to add a section. So apparently we need to add TXT records below to your DNS provider. Oh, TXT record, I found it. 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 We couldn't verify your domain, Korun.com. Now wow, I don't buy am now. Now me get am. CORUUN. Verify. Now wow. I found it. Ooh, ooh, ooh. They couldn't find the A records we were matching. Okay, so they need an A record. Let's delete all these records. Delete these records. We need to create an A record. And then add another A record here. This is the 65, the one. I need to add this A record as well. Delete, delete, right? Okay, delete. Let's add this one. Oh, it's A records. Oh, so it's A records, A record, A records. Apparently, there's something called A records that I need to add. I think I've just added it. It says okay. So let's try now. Let's finish. Let's verify. Let's verify. Okay. So I'm struggling with this. So here we can see that our application is humongous actually. The main bundle is around, wow, our CSS is 1 megabyte large. Lord knows. We should probably fix that up because I know why it's very, very large. We can go to app assets and we can go to the app.css and we should probably like in the SAS here on the app CSS, we can remove the demo stuff. We don't need a lot of these, but right now we can just remove the demo, and that's the one we know for sure that we don't need. So we're going to go to the domain name. The domain is telling me that I can't add to both records that it wants. So let me actually just delete these domains and start all over again. Add a custom domain, www.korun.com. Okay, it says verify ownership. Okay. Value. For example, subunits values at for your root domain name. Okay. Oh, I see. I think I figured it out. Yeah, I figured it out. I figured it out. I figured it out. I think I have figured it out. I think I figured it out. Figured it out. Figured it out. Da 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 do 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 do. Ba-da-da. Yo. So I believe I have figured it out. So there's only one way to try. So now we're going to just use Firebase to do this. So we're going to say Firebase use Firebase project list, I guess. So these are some of the projects I have in my Firebase. I want to switch to the project called ABC Korun. That's the project we want to use. Firebase use Korun. Firebase Let's see how to use Firebase to host. Where are we hosted? I'm hosted on Firebase. So the question is, where are we hosting? Firebase. We're using Firebase hosting. I bought the Google domain, so we can say Firebase. Let's see, how do we change Firebase use? Let's see. I'm using the Corona project. Okay. Firebase init. We want to use hosting. Use an existing project. We want to use Karun. Would you like to set up your public directory? It is going to be our dist folder. It's just going to be the dist folder. Yes, we want to set it up as a single page application. No, we don't want to override the HTML. Exactly. And then now, if we say Firebase deploy, it should write our database for us. This should automatically host our application for us. This should host our application for us. Our And then we have our website is live on this, but this is interesting. Let's try Korun.com. Okay, so it doesn't take us to where we want to go, Korun.com. So we need to still figure out why that is happening, I guess. Let's delete this domain and delete this domain too. So let's try it again. www.karun.com. This is just so painful. This is why I don't like working with. Okay, so it says add these records. I've added these records. Okay. Quick setup. Okay, finish. Add. Finish. We couldn't find the A records that we expected for your domain. Does anybody have any experience using Firebase hosting? Because we're literally not getting any luck. I don't know. I thought it was just as straightforward as just adding these A records, which I have added, but for whatever reason, It just hasn't worked. So we just gonna leave it like that. I guess what we should do probably is do a few things. So I'm gonna go to the index.html. Let's change some things. Instead of this from the basic Apex one, we're gonna change it to Corona Nigeria dashboard. And then yes, we'll change this. We can remove this, and we can also go to the sidebar, I guess, and remove the image there. Here and say form sidebar. That should be shared. And we have a sidebar here, and this is where the image logo is. We can remove that image logo, and we can say this is just Karoon, and this is what it's going to look like now. It's going to say Karoon, and I think that should be good enough. I guess we can remove the favicon. Do we have our own favicon? Yes, we can remove the favicon, and then we now want to do a build. ng build -- prod. Let's just make sure. Okay, this is us rounding up. We're gonna make sure we build. Okay, our build is working. 92%. Chunk asset optimization. Terser plugin. Optimizing our app for us. So the project is already live right now. I'm just updated it. Of course, we haven't been able to get it to work on the Koru.com. If anybody knows how to deal with Firebase hosting, please feel free to reach out to me. So we're just going to do Firebase deploy, and I'll post a link. What's it called? I'll post a link. And so this has just gone live. And of course, we'll probably maybe on Sunday, we'll build the other ones, because we still have a lot of features to build. We need to build the ability for you to share these dashboards so that they are images. You need to be able to share the charts, the live charts with people so that they can see. There's a lot that we haven't actually done. And we need to do the states pages. That will be next, first of all. So that I'm going to create a list of features that we're going to do. And then you guys can vote what the next particular feature is. And then we work on that particular feature. So I'm just going to post a link now on Twitter. So this is actually the web page now. If you go to here, we've bought this domain name. If you go to this particular URL, you can see Karoon. I'm playing too much. All right, I'm gonna post it now. Link to our Karoon app. We will eventually on Karoon.com. So yes, it is live. You can see the link. It's on my Twitter. You can go there and you can check it out and all of that. I think this is probably where I ended up today. I've been live for 2.5 hours. I'm not getting paid. I am fasting. I'm desperately hungry. But this is what I love doing. I love to teach. And if you have any questions, anything how we can maybe make it even better for the next time, please feel free to get in touch with me. I've been your host, Nemo Host, the host of the toes. No, I'm joking. Once again, my name is Sani Yusuf. Really at Sani Yusuf. You can follow me online at Sani Yusuf, or just literally search Sani Yusuf and you will see me. So I'm very, very easy to find. Very easy, Man, I feel easy, you know. When I get a problem, you know. Thank you for everyone that has joined for 2.5 hours, who stayed on this live stream. It's going to be available on YouTube as soon as I finish. Periscope, Facebook as well. To everybody that watched from Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, thank you very much. You can go back and watch this, and you know if you can do this better. So yes, and I'm going to make on Twitter the live stuff that you can vote what feature you want us to work on next. So thank you very much. Bye bye. I'm going to end the broadcast now. Well, I normally sign out with my music, so hold on. Let me give you my sign out music. Let me give you my sign out music. Where's the sign out music? Come on, sign out music. Come on. All right, everybody.